We're here today at the 2023 Canadian International Auto Show in Toronto, and behind me is a display mock-up of Kia and Hyundai Group's E-GMP platform. This is the basis of many of their new small electric vehicles, including the Ioniq 5, the EV6, the Ioniq 6. And what I want to talk to you about is how it is that they have designed this so that the components are modular, and so that they can also be used in vehicle platforms that aren't currently electric. So if they wanted to, for instance, use this in a Tucson, you could integrate it into Tucson without a great deal of difficulty. Because what they've done here is they've built it into this subframe arrangement. So the suspension and the drive unit and the electronics for the drive unit, everything goes all in one piece and can be bolted to a body. And because it's not on a fixed frame, that body can be whatever the length you want it to be. And it allows you to use a separate battery pack. So the battery pack, again, is completely scalable. You can have a smaller battery pack for a smaller vehicle, larger for larger capacities, etc. And then they've done the same thing with the front. Now, one thing that there's been some criticism of the Ioniq 5 and the EV6 for is the fact that there's no frunk, or no front trunk in these vehicles. And I think what that comes down to is the decision to shape the drive unit and the inverter and all the electronics very much in the same shape as a conventional inline gas engine. The benefit for Hyundai Kia Group is that would allow them to package this where a four-cylinder motor would go without too much difficulty. The combustion engine will use a similar idea of a subframe, slightly different shape, but same idea. But this is why you don't have a frunk, because you have this large upright module that takes up the space that would be under the hood. It's a compromise, but I think it's a smart compromise because this is going to allow this manufacturer to potentially plunk this driveline into the nose of anything they already make that's combustion engine with minimal chassis changes. All they have to do is figure out where they're going to put the battery. The side benefit of the perhaps frunk compromising engine layout and the fact that this could be in a conventional engine bay, it does allow you to have some level of serviceability. I mean, you're not buried under the floor of a vehicle, it's not sideways lying underneath a whole bunch of stuff, it's out in the open. So from a repair and service standpoint, granted, these are not items you're going to be regularly dipping into to repair, but if you needed to, say, replace this cooler because they do fail, it's right there. If the inverter needed to be changed because there was an issue with that, it's right there. And quite honestly, if you wanted to yank the whole mess out of the vehicle, you got lift points in convenient spots, and this whole module is going to come out quite easily, making any kind of long-term service concerns a little bit less painful than they would be if this were buried somewhere deep underneath the floor of a vehicle. So here it is in practice. This is a Kia EV6 GT. It's 576 glorious horsepower electrically. And when you open the hood, hey, wait a minute, that looks just like a motor. What's going on here? Oh, there you go. So that's all the storage you get. It's not much. Got a light, but it's not much bigger than my hand width. You don't have a lot of space. So if you're planning on storing much, it's going to have to happen in the back. And again, this boils down to that decision to have all of the electronics and everything vertically oriented in this engine bay. Flip side is if you were to pull this cover out of the way, you've got easy access to everything. From the Toronto Auto Show, I'm Brian Early.